when you tell a story about some place, already place is a character. For example, a way Trishurkaran will walk is completely different from a person who walks in Kasaragod. Through experience, films get better. So whatever Kiran Raj has written is because of the connection that he has with dogs. The highest responses I got for Garuda Gamana after OTT release was from Kerala. Shiva is a character for me who is completely freedom, sense of freedom. Only animals has that freedom to express what they feel, and they do not have any remorse or guilt after the expression.
The Q short time will Raj P. Shetty. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
We'll start our chat with two characters.
Yes.
The stone-faced, cold-blooded Shiva in one frame, and the veterinary doctor from 777 Charlie.
Oh, okay.
While you were watching Garuda Gamana Rishabha Vahana, Shiva was such a haunting character. He was placed in our hearts with like more than love. We were so haunted by his looks, his face with no emotions and all. When it comes to 777 Charlie, it's kind of comical character.
Yeah.
He's always fun. He's so extreme.
Yeah.
So how do you manage the shift from Shiva to this character?
The joy of cinema is to go into the psychology of many people. So for an artist or for a writer, we go into their space which we normally cannot go. So Shiva is a character for me who is completely freedom, sense of freedom. Only animals has that freedom to express what they feel, and they do not have any remorse or guilt after the expression. So that freedom I really sensed, Shiva has that. And the character which is a veterinary doctor in Charlie, who enjoys being with dogs, which I normally do. But he's a little more extreme than me, where he wants something to happen or like he troubles the hero with his cunning, ideas. So I think for me, to explore these two different or opposite characters is why I am here in cinema. When I explore Shiva, I need to understand him. So maybe that is the reason I started wearing mundu.
Shiva.
For Shiva. And then it became part of me because it was so free. So even the clothes he wears represents what he is, the sense of freedom. And he doesn't give a damn how he looks. So for that, I need to explore a lot. For example, 2 to 3 months, till the shooting, I didn't cut my nails because I wanted to feel that I'm an animal. So I didn't cut my hair, which I don't have many, but yeah, and beard. So in that sense, I prepared for Shiva. And when it comes to Charlie, I trusted the director. So I asked him, can I do this role? Because it is a little louder than what I believe. Do you want me to do? He's like, yeah, it matches you well. Okay, fine, if you say so. Because I really trust him. And you can see the final product and you can see how big a visionary he is. So I trusted him and whatever he said, I did it. So I can say that I enjoy playing different roles.
So as we talk about Shiva, his mundu, you haven't cut your nails throughout the process. How do you manage to leave a character behind? Like being Shiva, you are focusing on Shiva. You are being Shiva on screen. And in throughout the location also, there is essence of Shiva in it. After portraying Shiva, and how long it took to shift to Raj B. Shetty from Shiva?
I didn't know that normally when you play a character with such rigor or so it stays with you, something stays with you. So with Shiva, my people around me started telling that you speak in a tone which is very local. Normally I don't speak. I speak to them in a very formal language. But the language changed. So it took a very long time. And even now I don't wear slippers. If I wear slippers, I even without my knowledge, I start. I become much more free or much more, local. So sometimes, leaving behind a character is a hard thing. But if you handle it well, I think it teaches you a lot and goes away with you. Because after Garuda Gamana premiere, I haven't watched that movie and I'm out of that movie. And
You haven't watched movie?
No, I haven't watched Garuda Gamana at all. I watched in premiere and I left it right there because I'm done with the movie. It cannot offer me anything more. So even with Shiva, I'm done with him. So whatever I need to explore, I have done. I mean, I'm completely done. So I left him over, I think, right there.
How long would you get hooked in a character? Like how long it would take to leave it behind? Like even if you are telling that you left Shiva behind, there is Mundu.
Yeah.
Still a part of Shiva.
Maybe this has become part of Raj too. The way he wears is not at all the way Shiva wears. It is very hard to leave behind a character because you are that when you are playing. And for me, I'm not an actor, when at least in my films, where like I shift a lot. I want to stay true to the character. So I do a lot of, after I wear a makeup, because I had a cut in the neck. After I wear a makeup, I never speak to the people around me in the same tone that I would speak. Not because I want to, because I really feel that is my scar. That is my heaviness. So once the makeup went, it became a lot easier for me. But still, people sense that I changed. So maybe at least 2 months I was, after the shoot, I had that, you know, essence.
Even in one behind the scenes video, they were telling that you were Shiva.
I didn't know. I didn't know. When I started like watching that behind the scenes, I was like, okay, whatever you were saying is true. What happens is, see, when I don't believe in acting, so I believe in becoming the character and sitting in front of the camera. So in the Garuda Gamana film, when I sat in Kadri and I was waiting for Hari, I was waiting for betrayal, and the character which didn't show anything need to show something which is little, but for the people it is such a big transition.
Yes.
So when you play that, I don't think you can calculate the acting. You need to be in the emotions. So for that, I had to stay in the whole process. I had to prepare everything prior to the shooting and give it to my associates, and then I had to sit back. When I sat back, when I'm in such intensity, and then they started troubling me with silliest mistake.
You get annoyed.
So I get annoyed, not like Raj.
Like Shiva.
Like Shiva. But the biggest joy of that anger was for me, when I shouted, the anger always ended in seconds. I shouted and then came back.
You're not holding it inside.
I was not at all holding back. So normally, when we get that anger and everything, we are in a society where we cannot express that intensely. For that animal, that is not a...
But Shiva is different.
Shiva is different. So it came so strongly and it emptied itself. And I was shocked. Wow, this is such joy, no? Like whatever you feel, if I love you, if I can tell it with such intensity and I'm done with it, should I tell, shouldn't I tell? There is no calculation at all. So that used to happen. It was not a problem for me, but people around me, faced a bit, that's all.
As we were talking about your characters, I was admired always about the way you create a character. You place a small amount of fire in every character, even in Janardhanan, Shiva, Hari, Brahmaya, whoever, and those characters doesn't leave that fire behind. It's with them till the film end. Maybe after the film also, they have that light or fire with them. So how do you construct a character and how do you create a way for character, like on a right track where they cannot leave their fire aside?
I'll tell you how it became. For example, Janardhan was created because of budget.
Yeah, it was a revolutionary movie.
So what happened was, we were a small time ad makers and we wanted to make films. And I wrote a short film. So my friend came to me and said that like, I'll give you 25 to 30 lakhs. Can you make it a film? It's like, let us try to. So then he became a Kannada lecturer. If he is a language lecturer, his life is normally little dry. That is what we conceive. That is what we see. Because the way we treat our language, local languages, is we are not so passionate to tell that like I belong to this mother tongue. If I speak in English, I might look better. That is how we think. So when I made him a Kannada lecturer, so his world was restricted. He used to go to college and come back to home. So I didn't have many locations. I didn't have many characters. So that is how the character was made. So after the budget, then I started, making the character much more real. So I want to explore. When I started writing Janardhan, see, I'm a person who is bald, and I want people to accept me as I am. But the thing is, I wouldn't be okay at that time, at least, to a person whom I believe ugly, to date or to go with. My question is, why am I that way? I want people to accept my ugliness or however I am, but I am not able to accept other
Others.
people the same way. So I really looked at myself as a hypocrite, because, which I am. So then I started searching that part with that character. Why he is that way? Because he wants to show a beautiful woman to the society and prove himself worthy. And we reduce another human being or another girl to trophy so that we know
Yes.
our self-worth is proved. I thought that is very cruel, but that is how we are, at least I am. So in that sense, I always explore myself in the character. So that is why I think it looks realistic. And with Garuda Gamana, what happened was, after Ondu Muttayi Kathe's success, even in our team, close team, it started popping out like, who is responsible for the success of this film? So that is something I was not expecting at all. When those thoughts started coming into my head too, I started looking at like, why the closest of friends,
Yeah.
you know,
There also.
closest of friends, when fame or power or success comes, why we change, why the relation changes, why we become important. So for that matter, I wanted to explore with these two characters. And with that, I really feel violence is not as easy as we look at it. See, when I speak to a person who is not as strong as myself, for example, a watchman or a security guard or a waiter, the tone I use is normally violent. When I speak to my mother, so when she says something which I don't like, the tone I use is violent.
Violent.
But that is not considered violent because it is not a crime in our society. But for me, I really wanted to explore the success part, the fame part, and with that, why people are violent, why we change.
As you said, like Shiva is there in everyone.
Shiva is there
A
in
bit of
everyone. For
Shiva is
example,
there.
Brahmaya, a family man who is not at all powerful, who is very weak, when he was put into that situation, he ends up being the reason to kill someone in front of a bar. And after that murder, he calls to his wife and speaks like, "Did you have your food? How are the kids?" Can you imagine this?
Shift in emotion.
Shifted, like how people change. So I think the film was about that. So in that sense, so I always explore myself in my film. So that is the reason maybe character looks a little realistic.
Even Ondu Muttayi Kathe was remake to Malayalam.
Yes,
Tamasha.
Tamasha.
Have you watched it?
Yeah, I have watched Tamasha. So Vinay Ford sir, I had messaged him saying that I really liked how he played the character.
So in case of Ondu Muttayi Kathe or
Garuda
Garuda
Gamana.
Gamana, the thing is how you create a plot. First, you have a character and build a plot around it, or you create a character and inject it to plot.
I'm a person who gets bored very easily and I'm very lazy. So
So,
I need to inspire myself to write something.
uh,
So with Ondu Muttayi Kathe, it was a necessity because I was roaming around for 3 to 4 years without a job. So I wanted to make film, which was a necessity. And the way plot, I constructed plot for the budget, which is a very wrong thing to do. And before that, I had written 3 to 4 scripts, which was always act-based, structure-based. So in Garuda Gamana, I wanted to do completely different. I wanted to approach that in a very different way. I didn't want it to touch any structure at all. So if you see the movie, it doesn't have a strong structure, strong plot. So I didn't want it to use any structure, any plot. I wanted to use characters,
yeah, it's kind of performance oriented.
performances, and with that, I wanted to put everything into a canvas, and I wanted to juxtapose in the sense like I wanted to put two things which are very contradictory, and I wanted to bring it in an order which looks very complementing. For example, Shiva and Hari, which is a very diverse, things in nature. So a very strong-looking person is the most calmest person, Hari. A very weak-looking person is the most aggressive person. So they are contradictory, and even with the songs and everything. When the most violent act is happening, the most pleasant bhajan or devotional song comes, and the demon in me, where the characters are expressing about their demon, which is a highly like male characters, but the voice comes in a female voice. So I wanted to do everything contradictory and place it in an order which looks complementary, and through that I wanted to serve something called a new experience. That is how I started writing this
Cinema
film.
is an experience.
Cinema is
after
always
all.
about an experience. You want plot, you want structure, you want characters, everything to create an experience. So I didn't want it to, I mean, in this movie, I wanted to make a gangster movie without punch dialogue, without backlight, without heroine, without sex. Because that is the elements which we always use in gangster films.
Yeah.
So if you don't use that, then what remained?
That's a question mark.
Yeah. So that is where like you put your restrictions so that you can write, which is challenging, and if it gets completed, it's a beautiful experience.
Even as we were talking about this gangster movies, you have entirely reconstructed this format of gangster movies. Even Shiva is playing cricket.
Yeah.
Even though he's not smiling.
Yes.
And there are no huge cars.
Yeah.
Even though Hari have some people around him, they all are doing cable business.
Yes.
Like they are being normal.
They are being
at
normal.
sometimes.
For me, Shiva is such a revelation because the most violent person can be very normal and even kids can dominate him.
Yes.
And a lorry teaching grandpa scolds him. So I really wanted him to look as real as possible. No person is violent every single time when in every part of his life. He's kind to someone. He's loving to someone. And the way we express love is very different. For example, the way we express love is almost like how Shiva expresses love in real life. We never tell our mother that I love you so much. But we do something called, actions which shows that.
It's all through act.
Not through dialogues. I wanted to use that. I didn't wanted to use any dialogues, but still I wanted to make people believe that they are very thick friends. That they believe it, I think. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Even as we have talked earlier, the trailer of Garudagamana Vishabhavahana, it was so impressive that there was a English song, English track behind the visuals, where visuals were focused mainly on rain, violence, tiger dance, and so many shots where the characters are alone in the frame. And there was this track playing throughout the trailer, which also gave a universal appeal to the trailer. So why do you pick?
I told you, the cinema, every film is about something. This film was about an experience which is contradictory yet complementary. So I wanted to use a sound dimension which is completely opposite to the visual dimension. Visually, as you said, it is so local. The people are so raw. The language they are speaking is so... And they might not have heard this song for their entire life at all, even by accident. But when this song comes, and when it is positioned in a right way, I really felt the experience it gave was very different and distinct. And this is not about adrenaline rush, it was about experience. So when I wanted to convey, why do we do trailer? For 1001 reasons. One important reason is to invite people to the experience that film is going to offer.
Yes.
Is it an emotional film? Is it those kind of film? I want to tell, brother, this film is not about plot. This is not a very interesting story. This is an interesting experience. So when I wanted to construct the whole film in 2.5 minutes, I really thought this is the best idea I can do. So I wanted to, I didn't mind plot. I positioned in a way where something gets conveyed, and more than everything, the experience gets conveyed. So the whole idea was again contradictory and complementary.
When we talk about different lands, we always talk about the cultures of the land.
Yes.
Kerala, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, whichever. We always focus on cultures rather than being on their landscape or territory. Also about the culture, there is film cultures everywhere. As we are from Kerala, we know the film cultures, film collectives, everything here. And so what about your film culture from Karnataka, especially in Mangalore? Film collectives, film cultures, film discussions. How do you guys talk about cinema?
I am very boring when it comes to films. So Rakshit would be the ideal match if you can ask him the question. The reason being, I am from Mangalore, which is not at all a film hub. And people there doesn't give a damn about films. Because for them, the culture is very important. For example, there is a form of art called Yakshagana, if you have
Yes,
heard.
I know. Rishabh was
Rishabh played a Nema, which is kind of Theyyam.
Theyyam. Okay.
Okay, this is kind of this
Yeah,
one.
Yakshagana.
Yakshagana is where we play the Mahabharata, or those kind of this thing. And Hulivesha or Tiger Dance.
Tiger dance.
This is something so very important for that part of Karnataka more than films. So I stay back there because we are not at all a celebrity in that part. We are just ordinary people.
Casual.
Yeah, and if anybody from Mangalore sees that, they sense that okay, you are telling our stories, you are our pride, and hi, thank you. That would be it.
No exaggeration.
No exaggeration. If the maximum would be, they will come to you and tell that the film was nice and ask for a selfie. That's all. Other than that, they won't trouble or anything. So I decide to stay back in that city because I really want to see life, experience life, and then to write about films which is from my life, because that is the deepest possible way to write a film. You asked a question before the interview. Do you really have any reference when you do films? I don't do reference because it is such a injustice to the art that film is.
Yeah, limitations.
Other than that, I really live, and through living, I meet many people. By meeting many people, I think that is my film culture, which is away from film. But I never go back to. I never go to Bangalore. Whenever I do films, I go and sell there and come
Yeah,
back.
usually Kannada movies
Is
purely
Bangalore.
focused on Bangalore,
Bangalore.
and you are you are stuck on Bangalore.
Yeah. I wouldn't call stuck. That is my freedom, maybe. The reason is, see, in Kannada there is a great writer called Kuempu, and there is a great writer called Shivram Karant. They always wrote about the places that they lived. That is the reason it looks so authentic.
Like where they
Lived,
like-
experienced. So when I write something, it should be from the land or stories that I have experienced, I have seen. So that is the reason I stay back there, because that is the experience that make me write films. So that is my film culture, which is completely away from films.
So as 777 Charlie is your new movie, like we always gave importance to relationships.
Yes.
When it comes to a relation between a dog and a man, it's so awesome.
Yeah.
And so it's a big bond
Yes.
between them. In Charlie, is it so strong? And
yeah.
how excited are you for Triple
I'm very
Seven?
excited. The reason being, I really want good things to happen to Rakshit. So he's my good friend. And the other thing is, if good things happen to him, I definitely really know that he is one person who will make better films or support better films. He's not like me. He's not lazy like me. So he's always into films. The reason I was casted in this film was, I have 8 dogs in my life.
Oh.
Okay, so all are indie dogs. So 4 at home and 4 at office. So Kiran loves dog. Kiran is the
Kiran Raj.
director. Kiran Raj is the director of this film. He loves dogs. He loves it to such a level that he goes and feeds strays and everything. So when he started writing this, when he wanted a veterinary doctor in this film, see, he wanted me to play that role.
Yeah.
So that is the reason I came in this film. And I really, see, when I always told that, like, through experience, films get better. So whatever Kiran Raj has written is because of the connection that he has with dogs. And the way Rakshit has performed and Charlie has performed. Charlie, she's the best actress in the whole film. And second place goes to Rakshit. So you can see the movie. And when I saw the movie, and I really cried. I think that is the most beautiful aspect of this film. Even if you love dogs, even if you don't love dogs, you know what relation is. So you know what friendship is. You know what love is. I think that is the part where it gets connected, and that is universal for every place.
How emotional are you?
About?
Rajbi Shetty, about anything?
I really love to cry. So I really love to cry because that's the strongest thing about a human being. To express something he has. To smile, to laugh, to cry. When you become that, you are very strong, because you cannot keep something inside you. It comes out. After that has come out, you are empty. And if you are empty, you are strong. So
If you're empty, you're strong.
you are always strong, because a moving mind which has something to hold back is always weak, because it has something to spend on its mind. An empty mind doesn't have anything. It is so strong that I can attend you, I can love you more, I can speak to you more. So I can have a deep friendship, deep conversation. It is the strength.
we were talking about Mangalore, especially in case of Garudagamana, Mangala Devi, the landscape. So in the movie also, the land is being portrayed as a character.
Yes.
With all its climatic conditions.
Yes.
There is summer, there is rain,
Yeah.
everything is there.
Yeah.
What make you think like that, or how easy is it to place a land as a character in the movie?
When you tell a story about some place, already place is a character.
Hmm.
For example, a way Trishurkaran will walk is completely different from a person who walks in Kasaragod. It is because of the busyness of the locality, the way the people talk, and the work they do. For example, maybe in Trishur, like temple that's surrounding that culture is very predominant. So in that sense, they might behave in a way which is so subtle to observe. But a Kasargodu person who has much more connection with Karnataka might have a completely different accent, completely different way of walking and talking. So I really feel places are people. Which place they come from is always represented in people. So that is the reason when place comes, people also should come from that place. If place and people from that place come, I think then you have placed the place as a character.
Okay, so you are stuck on to Mangalapuram, and here we have Senna.
Oh, yeah.
Who is so
He's my very good friend, Senna. Yeah.
How do you see this thing? Like
Oh, I love
you're
him.
creating movies from a particular land.
See, art, when comes from the root, makes the state or the world very diverse. So, in Sanna's film, you can always see his surrounding,
Yes.
how beautiful it look, how the language is very distinct from the rest of the Kerala, and still people are the same. I think it connects us. So even with Karnataka, I always believe that like there is a part called North Karnataka. It is very less represented in films. I really want films to come from that place. And Dakshina Kannada, which is our place, Mangalore, it is coming. So I want different films from different people and from different places so that we can really understand human beings better. And I think that is the biggest harmony that can have within people. To see you as you are and still laugh and cry and sit with you. Only cinema can do that. Only cinema can do that. I hope many people come from their places and tell their stories.
Also, the climatic conditions in the movie, even that tiger dance occur in a rain. As if there is rain, we all focus on the sound of rain, the flow of water, and in between a person is dancing to the beat of the rain. It seems more there is a depth created.
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
So while you were choreographing that tiger dance, or while you were performing in between action and cut, how was it?
Oh my God.
What was there in your mind?
Nothing was there in my mind because if you dance tiger dance, for 30 seconds you'll be tired. So I had to dance in a tar road for 2 days. So my whole feet was gone, the skin was gone, completely gone. So as a character, Shiva doesn't know like his feet is hurt. Raj knows. So if I take it, I might get burned out right there. So I had all the preparation prior. I had given all the shots, and Praveen is my darling, who is my cinematographer and editor. So we always discuss films before 3 to 4 months because he doesn't work in any films. So he's always free. So he only works with me. So in that case, he's always there from the first word I write. So he exactly knows what I want. We exactly have decided. So why rain was so important for me in that sequence was, it is a trance for me. He has done something very violent, but he is not able to stop himself right there. The whole expression comes from a violent person who is in a trance and his steps are violent. But as an audience, all you can do is stay away from him and look. Because you
Just observe him.
observe him. You cannot go into his world. You cannot enter his world, and you don't want to enter his world because he's in rage. So that is the reason we use block lenses from the far, very far, and we see him from very far, and all you want him to do is calm down. I think there is nothing
Let
better
him use his
surrounding and calm
Calm
down.
down.
So when he gets calmed down, I don't think nothing better than rain to calm him down. So, so the rain is calming him down. So even the devotional song is asking him not to become very violent, and he dances. I think that was the joy of it.
Actually, from 2000, after 2000, like post 2000 period, the Indian audience were more into other language movies,
Yes.
especially to Korean movies and all.
Yes.
So we were talking about violence in like several films from Korea, like Old Boy,
Yeah.
I Saw Devil, everything. So when it comes to Indian cinema, there weren't such violent scenes at that time. Now it's been more into our cinema also. Even in Garuda Gamana also, violence was portrayed in a bit of perfect manner. So how much you love violence? How much you love blood?
I don't love blood. I don't love violence. The reason being, that is one thing I want. I want violence to go from my life, from my heart, at least in thoughts. Because action I won't do because I have my reputation at stake. So I always tell that, like, if you are only as good as the situation let you to be. If something happens, you might become an animal again. So I really don't like violence. So I believe in a quote where they tell that, like, every war film is against anti-war films. So the intention of violence is to explore why we are violent, and in that sense, to become a better person. So my whole exploration in that film was that. So to see violence as closely as possible from my perspective, so that I learn from that through other characters. So I don't I don't love violence.
Like we all are connected with our friends,
Yeah.
and we give more importance to friendships.
Yeah.
In the case of Kannada film industry, in Kerala, we talk about Rajbi Shetty, Rishabh Shetty, Rexit Shetty, this Shetty gang. So how important is your friendship? Like
Very important. Very important in the sense we want everyone to win, not only this Shetty gang. Um, I have a director called Hemant Rao, who is a director of Kavaludari
Kamalugari.
and Godi Banna Sadharana Maikattu. I have a friend called Sujay Shastri, Radha Krishna Reddy. I want everybody to win. And I want these people to win because we are not competing against each other. Nobody is competing against each other. For example, Garuda Gamana was presented by Rakshi Shetty.
Yes.
So that was his kind gesture. So I am here. I have played a role in Charlie, and I am here to promote Charlie. The reason being, we always want good things to happen to people, good people. So it is very important to know. Important to love people, right? Like,
Yes.
it is very important to share something you have. We
Rather
have.
than keeping it ourselves.
How do you
Yeah.
keep something? Like, that's a very lamest thing that you can try doing.
Yes.
So Risha, see, I wrote for Sarkari Hiriya Prathamika Shale as a writer. So in lockdown, I went with Rakshit and wrote a film, which didn't happen, but I wrote for him. I'm a director whom I write for others. And when Kantara was shooting, there was one sequence where Rishabh was acting and he wanted some help. I went as an associate or like choreographer, and I stood there. It doesn't come like who is bigger or who is smaller. That doesn't come in our relation at all. It is about what we can make to make this film better, and with that, what we can learn from it. So it is not at all about how big our ego is. It is about how big film can be.
Even if in Sarkari Prisha or in Garuda Gamana or Ondu Muttai Kade, as we said, the landscape, about the landscape. Even in Malayalam cinema also use this landscape from the early days.
Yes.
I don't know, have you watched Padmarajan's Arapattagette Gramathil?
No,
It's,
sorry,
it's a movie really focusing on this landscape. And now we have Angamali Diaries.
Angamali. Kumbalangi Nights.
Kumbalangi
Yeah.
Nights. Like landscape is like an asset for a filmmaker or writer, which gives them an ease in the process of writing and making a film.
Yes.
So you also place landscape as a process of this easiness
Yes.
in filmmaking.
Even in world cinemas also, it is Casablanca was a very important place in Casablanca. And Godfather, where they are from, Italy, was very important. So Goodfellas, the streets were very important. And with Taxi Driver, the streets were very important. So it is very important for the place to reflect in good cinemas. So that is what happens. Bad cinemas doesn't have which place it comes from. Good cinemas always
Yeah, I have a pure
brings,
detailing
yeah,
about
yeah,
the
yeah.
place.
I always thought so. For example, even Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah.
So the place doesn't exist, but still they construct a place which actually exists in your mind.
And the whole
World.
journey is in a territory.
Yeah, in the territory which actually
It's
is in
being
your
registered
mind.
from the first shot onwards.
Yeah, if I ask you about Mad Max Fury Road, the thing that come is the dry land.
Yes.
So I think that is the
Dry
experience.
land,
Dry
fire,
land.
black smoke.
Yeah, blacks. See, you started experiencing it.
Yes.
So land is a very, very important, geography is a very important place where we can make people feel they are actually in the place. So that is the reason we explore those kind of things. And sadly, I'm from one place. Wish I could be, thousand from thousand place so that I know every place so very well.
So you can make more and more films.
More and more films which are from rooted, but yeah.
As we have said, Garuda Gamana, like post release of Garuda Gamana, you have been getting appreciations from everywhere.
Yes.
What about Malayalam cinema
Oh my
industry?
God, like the highest responses I got for Garuda Gamana after OTT release was from Kerala. I really thank them for considering, giving their time to watch this movie and complimenting us because it feels really good. And I could speak to Anwar Rashid sir after Garuda Gamana and uh, Justin Varghese from Ajagajantram, music
Music
director.
director.
He's my good friend now. And there are many people who are very close to me because of one film. I always try telling that this is my visiting card to meet other people. Anwar sir's work I always loved, and we were always inspired by the things that he produced and things that he directed. And when Tovino's Thomas, so when these kind of friendship happen to you, or you can, you are able to speak to people who are actually your inspirations. It really feels good, and I thank all the people who have watched this movie and consider. The barrier of language doesn't come in between when the emotions are true, because emotions, language is always needed to convey emotions. If emotions are conveyed, I don't think language can be a barrier. So I thank all the people who have watched the movie and accepting me as I am. Thank you.
Do you have any plans in collaborating with any Malayalam filmmakers or to be a part of Malayalam industry or take
I-
someone to Kannada industry?
I really love Fahad Fasil, I think. So I really love the way he acts. He's such a good actor. So, and there are many great actors here. Most of the actors are great actors. I don't know because language is such an important part to me. But there are some discussions about Malayalam films and everything.
Even though you can understand and you can speak in Malayalam.
Yes, I can understand Malayalam completely. I can speak a little, but I don't want to, I want to learn completely so that I can speak better.
You also watch Malayalam movies.
I used to watch Malayalam. I used to watch films and I used to watch Malayalam films. So, Bangalore Days or Angamali or Ustad Hotel, Premam. So, when those movies came, we were mesmerized by it. So how well they made, and I never thought I'll be a filmmaker when I was watching those movies.
Which was that moment when you decided that?
It was an accident. So yeah, I had a breakup with my girlfriend. So the relation was there for 6 years. I wanted to try something new. Okay, and somebody came to me and asked like, can you write a short film? And I wrote that short film and it got completed. So he directed it. It became a very pathetic film. Okay. And I was like, okay, I could sense that there are many ways to make a good film, but this is definitely not one. So it was not at all a film that I wrote. Then I started researching how films are made, how they write films, how they direct films, how they act in films. That is the reason there is everything in me, because I didn't want to become anything by studying that. I just wanted to explore that.
Explore and experience.
Explore and experience. For 1.5 2 years, I did nothing, but I was studying films. And after 2 years, I wrote a film for 2.5 minutes, short film. I made that. When that movie was completed, the process and the completion and the effect that gave me made sure that this is the job that I need to do. Because the joy it gave me was so fulfilling. So That is the moment
How easy is it to survive in cinema?
it's very easy if you have a sane head. So if you want to become something in film, I think it's very hard. If you want to learn something here, it's a very beautiful thing. Somebody invests money for you so that you can learn. Where does that happen?
Only in this industry.
Only in this industry. But when you learn, be sure that at least the producer shouldn't learn. They should earn something.
They should earn.
So if producers start learning, oh, I shouldn't have invested, then I think you're a bad filmmaker. So if we can balance both, that would be a great. This is a great field.
So anyway, thank you for spending
Thank you so much, Rob.
this
Thank
much
you.
time with us.
Thank you so much. I'm glad that you watched our movies and you follow our work. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.